my gosh, I better go live. I just realized that the timer ran out. Okay. Let's get rid of some stuff here out of OBS. So, welcome. I have no idea if anybody is watching this. I saw Spencer and Tomislav both added some comments from Periscope and YouTube, so I guess that means that this is working. Um, I'm doing something a little bit stupid here on my laptop that I'm hoping my laptop keeps up. So I got my CPU monitor right here on my screen. Let me flip over to that. So I've got my little CPU monitor right here, trying to see if this is going to stay working or if OBS is going to crap out. If it does, then I'll try to go live again, and reconnect my encoder. But I wanted to get together today. It's only 6:30 in the morning in Kansas City. I snapped awake at 5 o'clock in the morning, like I tend to do, and I looked at my phone and saw that I had like 17 Twitter notifications, which kind of freaked me out because that means that hopefully I didn't like piss somebody off or something. And there was like this thread going on back and forth while I was asleep about hey, adding external guests as presenters, how does that work? And on one side, it seemed like they were talking about, well, the person who is the external presenter needs to switch tenants in order to join as a presenter. And then somebody said, well, no, the person needs to stay in their home tenant in order to be a presenter and not join as an attendee. So my experience mostly has been we instruct our associates to add them to a team, add the person as a guest to the team. So that creates like their Azure AD account, and they can be a presenter. Invite their email address, and then they have to stay in their home tenant. So if we've got a guest presenter from like Sprint or something like that, we would add that person as a guest to a team, and then we would invite them as a presenter, and then they have to log in and have Sprint in their upper corner of their Teams client. Then they'll join as a presenter. Otherwise, if they were like switch to Cerner Corporation and then join, it would just make them an attendee. That's been our experience so far. So I want to test that scenario. And here's my setup real quick. So I've got this machine here. It is running fairly hot on my laptop, but I've got good old Contoso set up here. So this VM right here is a local VM on VMware Fusion, taking up resources on my computer, that is logged in as Megan Bowen from Contoso. So this is one of those like fake tenants, fake person. It's fake company called Contoso. Then over here, I have a Citrix virtual desktop that is running in our data center at Cerner. This is logged in as my admin account. So this is the prod Cerner tenant, and this is my global admin account. So basically, we're going to try going back and forth where like Megan and my Azure account are going to be guest presenters in each other's live events, and we're going to just see how that goes. Then, just for funsies, what I'm doing here is I'm running OBS right here, and this is going out to Restream.io, which is going to YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. And then over here, because I'm an idiot and I want to like push my computer to the max, I'm running Microsoft Teams right now in my own regular account, and I'm using NDI virtual input right here to capture the output from OBS, and that is my virtual camera in Microsoft Teams. And then I am doing a Teams/Yammer live event over here. I have to mute this speaker real quick. Over here, well, let me mute it. There we go. So this is coming from Teams into Yammer, and I'm streaming that to our Office 365 at Cerner group, which has a couple thousand people in it. So yeah, I'm streaming to 4 different places. I'm running a VM locally. I'm going to a virtual desktop in the cloud, and running some other applications down here at the bottom, like Twitter and stuff. So if this cuts out or drops frames, we're gonna see what a 2019 MacBook can do. It looks like I've dropped 0 frames in OBS, so that's really, really impressive. So let me hide Teams, keep OBS down there in the corner. And as always, if you guys have any questions along the way, whether you're on YouTube, Periscope, Yammer, whatever, post your question in the comments, and I will check periodically for comments. I'm able to, let's get that turned on. I'm able to turn on comments here on the live stream. So your comments will post up right there and we'll talk about them as we go. So let's get started and let's do the typical way that I've instructed associates to add a guest to a live event. So this is my home tenant. This is Cerner. This one over here is Contoso. So I'm gonna go get her email address so that I can add her to a team. So Megan, what is your email address? Let's go here to account properties, figure out what her email is. It's this like big ridiculous name. Can I copy this somehow? There it is. Okay, well, I'm just gonna type that because I don't know why. So I've got a team here. Let's do the demo team right here. There's my general demo team. So I'm gonna add her as a member to this demo team. So Megan B at M365 X197 431.onmicrosoft.com. So I'm going to add this external person as a guest. Boom, guest added. See if it sends it. Oh, did I type her email wrong? I think I typed it wrong. Megan B at M365 X197 431.onmicrosoft.com. So let's bring this over here. Everybody confirm with me on screen. Megan with a G, B at M365 X197 431.onmicrosoft. Okay. So that's the email address. I'm gonna add that. This other person, I forgot the G on their name, so I'm gonna get rid of them. Okay, has been added, but it might take a while for them to show up in your member list. Okay, there's that. Now, on the other VM, which you can't see right now, I'm going to wait for that. Hopefully she's going to get an email here soon that she's been added as a member to this guest. And then we'll log in as Megan. We'll see the guest account and all that cool stuff. So now as my Cerner account, I'm going to go up here to the top corner and we're going to hit new live event. Testing with Megan as presenter. And then, oh man, I should have typed this, or I should have, okay, well, she's a guest in our tenant now, so I guess it does come up, so that's good. Oh, I thought I was gonna have to type that manually again. So I'm a producer, she's a presenter, and there we go. We're gonna hit next. And then there was some speculation as to like, does this work if it's internally or externally? So like, is anybody at Cerner, can they get to the live event and they have to log in? That's our default for our tenant. We do allow anonymous access for our live event, so people can set it to public and they could do a client-facing one. We do that so that people don't have to resort to, you know, other non-Microsoft things. We don't want people doing like client-facing demos or talking about, you know, our products or something like that over these other platforms like I'm doing right now by being on YouTube and Yammer at the same time. So I don't know what I should pick here. I think I'm going to leave it to org-wide. So we're going to pretend that Megan is a guest speaker and she's going to speak to just Cerner associates. It's going to be a Cerner only event. So we're going to leave it at org-wide. We're going to say that it's going to be produced in Teams. I always want to turn on Q&A, just leave everything else on, and we'll hit schedule. Gus, you're laying on my foot. My American Bulldog is like literally laying on my feet, keeping them warm down here. So there's that. I've got the attendee link. I can join this meeting. So why not? Let's just go ahead and join it. So you'll see up at the top, I'm joining as a producer. There's my little fake bearded nutcracker. We're going to join that. So I'm going to dismiss, bring up like the Q&A. This is a little tip. If you notice that like this is kind of squished, and if I were to share my screen into the live event, it would look like it was cropped off. It doesn't actually crop that section. It's showing the full 16:9. What is happening is there's just not enough space to render those boxes as 16:9. So pro tip, if you have your screen too small, if you've got like a 14-inch laptop or something like that, and it's just too low of resolution to show everything on the screen in the proper sizing, then pop open one of these side panes in your live event. If you do that, it will shove everything over to the left, and then you'll have a full 16:9 preview. So that's a little pro tip. Yeah, Martina, this is definitely a cool chatting experience to be able to have it like up on the screen here. I can hide that chat so you guys can see that Q&A. I can show the chat back on screen. It's nice that people can post from like YouTube or Twitch or Twitter, and I hopefully see it. So that's pretty cool. Over here, Megan Bowen. We're going to send and receive. She hasn't gotten any emails for this live event invitation. Let's see if she has anything on her calendar here. Oh my gosh, I'm not used to Windows. So she still doesn't have anything, at least not in Outlook. She doesn't have anything in here for, there it is, testing with Megan as a presenter. So the magic of the Microsoft Cloud, she has now been invited to this meeting or this live event as a presenter. She is logged in to her main tenant here. So you can see there's no switch between Cerner or Contoso. She's just a Contoso person. And we're going to join as a presenter. So she's going to join, hit join here, and we'll see at the top of the join screen what she's going to be. You'll need permission to join this event. Please contact the organizer. I wonder if her account hasn't been like fully set up yet or something. Let's keep waiting. Actually, let's do this. Let's sign out of her account and let's relaunch Teams. So she logs back in. See if she gets that little tenant switcher at the top. This is definitely something that you want to organize your Teams live event like early, you know, not like the day of the live event, because that's not going to work so well. So over here in Edge, I'm going to switch over to this customer digital experiences. Let's see here, MVP demo environment. I got to go get her credentials real quick. I wonder what that white screen is. That looks like it's just Microsoft Teams in the background. So let me log in to this demo tenant, because all of their credentials, they're like Let's do personal. All these credentials, they're auto-generated, right? So it can be a little bit confusing. Okay, it's like trying to force logging in as my Cerner account. And it's really kind of tough with Cerner because like our UPN is not our email address. So all of my like MVP stuff is tied to my email address, which is a like another Microsoft account, not tied to my Cerner UPN. So it's like kind of hard to log into sometimes. So my tenants, there we go. Credentials. Megan, there is her email address. Good grief. Okay, we'll see if it does single sign-on or if it's going to ask for her password for Microsoft Teams. Hopefully this doesn't take like 4 hours to replicate or something like that. Oh, there we go. Signing out and signing back in worked. That's awesome. So right here now you can see at the top of Teams, which is grayed out for some reason, probably because my machine is like 90% CPU. I still have, okay, 70 drop frames. So now see that switch up here at the top? Let me zoom in. This switch right here, that tells me that Microsoft is aware that she is a guest in another tenant now. So she has an Azure AD guest account on Cerner, but she's logged into Contoso right now. So how rad is that? That didn't take awfully long. Let's open up her Outlook and see if she has an email or anything. Everything seems to be lagging. I think this VM is starved for resources. So still nothing in her email that's like, welcome to this tenant, welcome to this thing. So let's try this out. Let's see if enough time has passed for her to join this live event as a presenter. So definitely don't do this 10 minutes before your live event starts. Get the invite all sent out. You want to promote your live event, you know, do all the things that you're supposed to do. Please join. This doesn't look good because it's just a black screen. Okay, so this event is in Cerner Corporation. To join, you'll need to be in that org too. So this is internal only, is what I set this one to. And it's telling me that I have to switch tenants. So let's switch tenants. Okay, Megan, what is your password? Copy, paste. Sure, stay signed in forever. Review permissions. Yes. All right, Megan. It's going to load up into Cerner. Boy, watching this stuff load is like super entertaining TV, isn't it? Yeah, Martina says, so that is the problem. I set it to org only, which then she has to switch into my tenant in order to be a presenter. So maybe all of my testing has all been as a public, like client facing, externally facing event, and they have to stay in their host tenant for that. Or maybe I'm wrong altogether and everybody just needs to live in the live events tenant as a guest in order to join as a presenter. This is confusing. If anybody from Microsoft sees this, this is ridiculous. I shouldn't have to tell users, if you set this radio button, then give them this set of instructions. But if you set this radio button to public, give them this other set of instructions. If I've got to do that, that is a bad thing to have to tell users how to navigate this. Honestly, from a user's perspective, they should just punch in anybody's email address. They shouldn't have to add them to a team. They shouldn't be a guest in Azure AD. They should put in their email address, invite them to the meeting, and they should just be a presenter. If they've got to do this dance, then that is why people are going to, other solutions to do their live event and doing shadow IT, because that's not a great experience. Okay, it is not switching to Cerner, so let me sign back out, relaunch Teams again. See what we can do here. Megan, sign in. Martina says if it's public, it should work without switching the tenant, but need to try this out again. Yeah, I'll have to switch back to is it public or is it org only? But that's why I wanted to test multiple scenarios and multiple situations, because it sounds like people are getting different experiences depending on what they're doing. So I'm logging in here. It's set to Contoso. We're going to flip it over to Cerner, so she's going to be a guest in my home tenant. Oh, this is taking forever to load. There we go. I wonder how the specs on this VM are looking. I wonder if I should throw some more CPU cores at it. What was that screen about? I'm in Teams. Why did it want me to download Teams again? Maybe it's too early. Yeah, the CPU's at 100%. That's why it's taking forever. But I don't want to give it any more cores from my MacBook, because that's gonna cause OBS to die if I do that. I've still only dropped 0.1% of my frames from OBS, so it's holding up pretty good. This laptop is just trucking away. Okay, everything looks like it's still healthy on the live stream. Oh, come on. All right, let's see if I need to give it some more juice. I wonder if I can do this while it's on. No, I can't. This is the thing, if I was recording this, I would like cut all this out in Camtasia, so it's not taking forever to load. I wonder if I did ask her to join, what's that gonna do? Is that gonna like call her in this tenant here? Come on, little VM. It's probably still sitting at 100%, yeah. It's just pegged. 80% memory usage. Sorry, we ran into issues. Yeah, no crap. Oh, now it's going to restart Teams, because that's what the try again button does. Okay, come on now. Oh, hey, look at that. I'm logged in as Cerner. So we'll take the tour. I definitely don't need to play a video. There we go. So Cerner Corporation up at the top here. Now, I'm going to have to join this from Outlook because I don't have a calendar anymore. So let's see if it shows up on her calendar yet as an invite. No, it doesn't. So let's try the ask to join thing over in my home tenant. Ask to join. There we go. It's calling her. So I'm going to add video. I'm logged in as Cerner right now. Whoa. Let's mute that microphone. Okay, did that mute? Okay, cool. I'm not hearing myself anymore. So there we go. She is in this meeting. I see pre-live. This is a meeting. She can open up this. She can see the Q&A. So there we go. Internal only. She had to log in to the guest tenant of the person who organized the meeting in order to be a presenter. So there's that. That's good. Just to verify that, I'm going to get out of the meeting. I'm going to go back to Contoso, and then I'm going to try to do the like ask to join. So it's going to like call her. Yes, I want to switch anyway. So that's an interesting little wrinkle, is that like the person, it might work best if the producer calls the guest, because when they log into the organizer's tenant, they're not going to be able to go to the calendar and join the live event. So it's kind of an interesting little tidbit there. And another thing that you have to tell your presenter who's going to be nervous about presenting content, and they're not going to be able to remember this crap. Okay, so it just says unavailable. If she's logged into her other tenant, she's just not available. So you'd have to figure out another way to contact her and be like, hey, you need to switch over to Cerner. Yeah, see, there's like a missed notification on the Cerner side. So let's try this. Let's leave this and let's schedule one that is public, and then have her join it that way as well, and see if what Martina was saying, if it is public, it should work without switching tenant. Let's see if that scenario plays out. So we're going to go here, live event, testing, public. I cannot type public with Megan. Oh my gosh. Okay. Megan B. There she is. There's that. She's going to be a presenter. This time we're going to make it public. No sign-in required. Turn on Q&A because I like that. Hit schedule. Okay, so now she's been invited to this meeting. I'm going to join as a producer. So Cerner guy is the organizer. Boom, producer. It's all squished. You can get rid of these ribbons. You can open up one of these panes on the side. Now you got nice 16 by 9. And there we go. So that already shows up in her team's, calendar. She's logged in as Contoso, right there in the corner, Contoso. Join. Okay, joining. Okay, she joined as an attendee. That's interesting. So that's opposite of what I said at the very beginning, which was she had to be in her home tenant. So to join, you'll need to be in that org too, is what it said. So that's interesting. Let's try that again. This is public facing, testing public with Megan. She is a presenter. See it right there. And she's joining. She's not using the attendee link. She's clicking to join the live event. And she's an attendee. She doesn't have any controls. Huh. Okay, let's flip over to Cerner. Hopefully this flip works okay. And over here in Outlook, she still has neither of these meetings. Okay, she has no calendar, so she's not going to be able to join this because she also doesn't have it on her Outlook invitation. So I'm going to, as the producer, I'm going to go call her. She's online. I see the green checkbox. Ask to join. There you go. You're getting a call from the producer. You join with video. I'm going to hear myself. Mute my microphone. There we go. I'm muted, so I can't hear anything. And there it is. So she shows up. She can share her desktop just like that. And over here on this side, there's her desktop. It's still loading. Huh. So that's interesting. It Spencer, how do I do that? If you uncheck download shared folders, would that fix that? So keep in mind that I'm not a Windows person. So all of your talk about download shared folders that you and Joe and Kyle have been talking about, I've ignored because I don't have to think about it. Is that in the account properties, Spencer, if you're watching? Double click account, more advanced. Okay, let's try to navigate this. Account settings. Account settings are right there. Okay. Open that up. Double click on the account. More settings. Advanced. Download shared folders. Uncheck that. Hit apply. Hit OK. Oh, Spencer Vincent. Freaking Outlook admin extraordinaire. It's going to make me restart Outlook, which may have loaded that anyway, right? Outlook, close out. Over here on this, okay, so her desktop has finally loaded up. I can do that. I can add my video as a video. So there's the producer. Actually, no, that's the presenter. That's Megan. Megan looks like me. I'm wearing my Microsoft Stream t-shirt this morning. And there's her desktop. So she's side by side. I can send that live. I can start the event. So that's pretty interesting. She, whether it was public or internal, best practice for this particular situation was that she had to get over to the Cerner tenant. So she had to have Teams installed, she had to flip over to Cerner, she had to join using that. That's interesting, yeah, because that's opposite of what has happened to me in the past when I've advised people on this. Like, I've always had to tell them, hey, make sure that you're logged into your home main tenant, because otherwise, if you switch over to the organizer's tenant, it throws you in as an attendee. But according to this test, it's not. So I'm going to have to change my recommendations for people. I wonder if this works if I try this the other way. So I'm going to leave this whole thing. We're going to switch Megan back over to Contoso. Boy, that FaceTime camera looks super grainy, doesn't it? Okay, Megan's logging back in. Yeah, Martina, even in the public event, she had to switch to the organizer's tenant that she's a guest of Otherwise, it didn't let her join. So like, I'll do that again. She's in Contoso right now, so she's in her home tenant. This is a public-facing live event, so testing public with Megan. I go over to my Cerner calendar, testing public with Megan. I hit edit and hit settings. It's set to public. So this is a public-facing live event. If she joins from Contoso, it says it hasn't started. She's an attendee right now. So it doesn't even go to that preloading screen that says you're joining as a presenter. It just takes her straight in as if she was an attendee. Crazy, huh? Spencer says, and it's not possible to add her as a presenter to a public event without her being a guest first. Is that correct? Yeah, Martina's saying that wasn't her experience either. Who knows? Was there an update somewhere along the line that, hey, you got pop-out chats, but also now live events works differently? I don't know. So Spencer, this is an interesting idea. Why don't I grab another person from that tenant, from this Contoso tenant, not add them as a guest to a team, but instead I'll just make them a presenter as just their email address by itself, see if that does anything differently. So this is probably gonna not work very well, but over here in Edge, I'm going to open up the demo tenant admin. So this is the admin profile for that. I'm gonna sign in to this tenant. Yeah, Martina, definitely the tenant switching and just how tenants work and guest access and everything like that it could use some improvement, or some ease of use stuff. Because man, like especially if it's an external presenter and your company is like paying for this person to present, and you've got to do this dance with the producers, and like it just doesn't make your company look like you know what you're doing at all. It's kind of hard to deal with. Okay, so here's these active users. Adele. Let's do Adele because she has a license. Let me create a password for her. Okay, I'm gonna move this off screen because I don't think it's gonna show the password. There we go. Okay. Reset her password. Okay, so her password has been reset to the same thing that it is for everybody else in this tenant. Now let's do a new profile. Add a profile. Sign in and sync data. What was that? Adele Vance. What was her account information? Let's get this out of the way. Oh no. Oh no. Close that. Cancel that. I gotta copy her email address. All right, Adele. Let's log in. There's that. I gotta go to Safari. Copy that password. Put the password in. Sign in. This is like one of the best things ever that yeah, sure. This is one of the best things ever that Edge has profiles, so you can switch between like my work account and my like demo account, but I can get into the demo tenant admin or my global admin for Cerner. Like I can flip back and forth between these. I'm also thankful that that this demo tenant doesn't have MFA turned on, because that would be annoying to have to deal with. All right, Adele, we're logging you in to this. Sign in. Sure, remember that password. Logging in. Let's just make sure that like her Teams works and stuff like that. She has licensing. Use the web app. Okay, she's in sales, but I guess also retail. I wonder what her role is in Katoso. Okay, so she's logged in. There is that stuff. So now what we're going to do is we're going to copy her email address and invite it to this meeting, this live event that is public. So testing public with Megan. Whoops. Open that one up. Let's edit that one. And let's add Adele's account. So she is not in any team. I've never added her as a guest to Cerner at all. Let's update that. So she does not have an Azure AD account with us. Now over on this side, there's her. She's logged in as her. There's her face. There's testing public with Megan. That showed up real quick because it's in a web browser. I don't think this is going to work yet because live events are, so it does know that she's a presenter because it wants to download the application. So let's do that. I'm over here with Megan. I'm going to sign her out and I'm going to sign in as Adele because I'm not going to make you watch me install Windows on a new virtual machine. It'd take 15 minutes to do that if I'm lucky. Okay, so Megan is signed out of Teams. Adele is going to sign into Teams, something our security team would not be happy with. Do not share machines with other people. That is bad security practice. But this also isn't joined to any domain or anything like that. Well, I guess I logged in to my work account, so this might be joined to an Azure AD binding. Okay, password. Punch that in. This is logging in as Adele. Get rid of the start menu. Sure. Allow us to manage my device. So this is the first time she's logging into anything on this computer. So it's going to do its thing. Hit done. And now we should see Adele's face, not Megan's face. And then we'll see if she can join this live event. Maybe that's the ticket, Spencer, is don't add them as a guest yet. But then how's the user going to know if they're a guest anywhere else in the tenant? So that would be frustrating to have to wrangle. Okay. There's Adele's face. I'm logged in as her. She does not have any other tenants because there's no switcher. We're going to go to her calendar. Come on now. Still only dropped 70 frames in OBS. I haven't dropped any more frames yet. Let's go check out Yammer at Cerner, see if anybody has said anything. Probably not, because it's only 7:15 in the morning, Kansas City time. There's not, probably nobody even knows that I went live. There's 7 people watching at Cerner. Good morning, people in Cerner. It might be people in Malvern because it's like 8 o'clock Malvern time. Okay, so open this up and hit join. So she's a presenter right there, Adele Vance. Joining. Okay, there it is. Join as presenter. Oh my gosh. Okay, so what's happening here? Megan was a guest in a team at the organizer's tenant. You add her to a public live event. She had to log in to the organizer's tenant as that guest. Then she could join as a presenter, right? So if I get that straight, the person has an Azure AD guest account in the organizer's tenant. They have to log in. to that tenant in order to be a presenter. Otherwise, they show up as an attendee. That was whether it was public or internal. This person does not have an Azure AD guest account in our Azure Active Directory. She was able to not have to switch tenants. She stayed in Contoso and came in as a presenter. So her experience was easier because she was not a guest in a team. So let's try one more thing here. Let's try adding her as a guest to the internal event. Let's see if she can join it at all. Okay, Adele, let's get your email address. Let's invite you to the meeting. I wonder if it would even let her be invited because this is internal only. Okay, so she's, as a presenter, settings, it's set to org-wide. We're going to update this meeting. Testing with Megan. This is internal. Adele is there. So over on the VM, got it. We go over to her calendar. She should have both. There's the second one. Dude, that Teams calendar update is fast. So Adele is a presenter. This is internal only. Join. Joining as a presenter. Okay, so, and these are just like regular tenants. There's nothing like early rings about this at all. This is just a test Contoso. My admin account is ring 4, public prod GA, whatever you want to call it. This is just how it works out of the box. So, okay. So regardless of if it is internal or guest or external, internal or public, if the person is not in your tenant at all as an Azure AD guest account, they can just join it and be a presenter. And that works. If the person is a guest in your Azure AD tenant, then they have to switch to your tenant that it was organized in, and they, regardless of if it's internal or public. So with the internal one, Megan had to switch to Cerner. With the public one, Megan had to switch to Cerner because she's a guest in a team. Adele could stay in Contoso because she doesn't even have a tenant switch up here. She stayed in Contoso, and she was a presenter in the internal event and in the public event. Okay. At least as of right now, that's how it's doing it. So I don't know. Maybe after the next round of updates, it might be different. I don't know. Martina, if you're watching, Tracy, if you're watching, or Phil on Twitter, or Lorian and Megan Strant, if you guys are watching, try this out and let me know. I know Lorian, he said he's going to write a blog post about this. I think he said he's already got it pretty much done. So I hope I didn't steal any of your thunder with that, man. If you like already tested this and knew exactly how this behaves. I figured, like, before I saw that you had already written something, I was like, I'm just gonna organize this and just go live and see what happens. So Lorian says, it's actually pretty straightforward and logical once you map it out and understand it. So yeah, I just, it has to accompany a Visio diagram, maybe. So that if somebody has, and that's what's crazy is like, we're ending up in the situation of like, okay, this person is organizing their first Teams Live event. They're, the executive admin for some like director, and that director is saying, hey, I need you to go figure out Teams Live events. So that poor person is figuring out live events in the midst of a pandemic. And they're like, oh, by the way, we're going to have this special presenter who's the, announcer for the Royals, and we're going to pay that person, so now there's money on the line. just add them as a guest. And then it acts like this and does this like kind of weird stuff. So I'm hoping that maybe clears this up. I'm going to try to summarize this at least for my internal folks to tell them what I learned in this video, because I don't want to make them watch an hour-long video to figure this out. But from what it sounds like, it depends on if the person is a guest in the tenant anywhere. The end user is not going to be able to figure that out because they're not going to know if they're a guest somewhere else. But I guess maybe the thing would be when you're inviting them to the live event, if you start typing their name and it shows up, then they're a guest in that Azure AD tenant. If that happens, they need to switch to Cerner in order to be a presenter. If you type in their full email address and it just says invite as guest and it doesn't recognize that person, then they can just join without thinking about anything else as a presenter. So maybe that's the easiest way for people to understand it. Although honestly, whenever the person is joining the live event as a presenter, it clearly does tell them like, hey, you need to switch to this tenant with this name in order to be a presenter. The only time where it's confusing is in that situation where it was a public live event and the person joined from their home tenant. They just joined as an attendee. It didn't really give them like a good prompt that said, hey, I see that your name is also a presenter. You need to switch over to this other one. Like that wasn't, I think it might have been in that little ribbon, that tooltip that popped up, but that's not obvious enough probably for most people who are, nervous because they're about to present to people. So they're probably going to miss that. But okay, cool. Well, that is that. I'm terrible at ending these things, but I think that's about all I have time to test for. So we're going to see how that goes. And thanks for watching. I'm going to leave this thing public on YouTube and everything like that. So if you have comments along the way or if something changes in the future, leave that as a comment on YouTube and I'll see that and we can continue discussing this topic. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody, and I hope you have a great day or great evening, depending on what time zone you're in. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.